What's up, guys? It's Techno Viking 23 coming to you today with some Mass Effect Andromeda discussion. Actually wanted to talk about a very interesting lore aspect of Mass Effect Andromeda. Now, if you haven't gone through the game and found all of Ryders Memories and things, you may not want to watch this. There are going to be some spoilers here because I'm mainly going to talk about how the Andromeda Initiative ties in with the events of Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3 somewhat through Ryders Memories and through what you learn about the Andromeda Initiative in that way. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about Cerberus, a little bit about the Reapers, and if you haven't got to that point in the game, if you haven't gotten through and gotten all the memories, you may want to watch this later, or if you just don't care and want to see what it's going to be about, then feel free to stick around. Because we're going to talk about some really cool stuff. But anyways, I wanted to get that spoiler warning out of the way, because there may be some stuff here that if you hear it, you might be like, oh man, I wish I heard that in the game. But we'll talk about it anyways here. So basically, as you go through the game, there are little Ryder memory triggers, and as you pick those up, they unlock more of your father's memories that you can review back on the Hyperion arc. Now, one of them is really interesting. It talks about the timing of the Andromeda Initiative and when they leave, and that their schedule was actually apparently bumped up a little bit due to an outside influence. And I did a video a couple months back before the game even came out, and I was talking about is there going to be a Cerberus plot somewhere in Mass Effect Andromeda. You do run across a few Cerberus type people in the game. Won't spoil any of that stuff. There's a lot of really nice callback to the trilogy in Andromeda, so it's pretty cool. But as you listen to these memories, as you unlock them, you find out that, of course, Ryder was an N7, and he basically screwed the pooch by trying to research artificial intelligence, which is where Sam comes from. He was actually doing this to try to save his wife from a disease that she had. If you don't remember, don't play the game, basically Sam is an artificial intelligence that bonds with you through an implant inside your brain. So it's like an AI that actually meshes with your physiology, which is kind of a neat concept, and it's not something we've seen in Mass Effect. Of course, we've seen the Geth and the Reapers, but we haven't seen an AI somewhat similar to this. So his plan all along was, I'm going to make this AI, I'm going to put it in my wife, and it's going to hopefully cure her disease. So that's the main reason he was working on it. Well, because of that, he gets shunned by the Alliance. He gets kicked out of N7. He gets basically kicked out of the Alliance. Scott and Sarah Ryder also kind of suffer because of that, because of their association with him. So they all go off and decide, we're going to join this Andromeda Initiative. Well, it turns out that things were stalling a little bit with the Andromeda Initiative. They were running out of money. They were running out of resources. It was just an absolutely humongous undertaking by them. Well, somewhere along the line, a, quote, strange benefactor came along and decided to bail them out. And this strange benefactor contacted Ryder, contacted the leader of the initiative. I think it's Gian Carson is her. I think I'm saying that right. Might not be, but contacted them and decided to give them some resources and some other things. Helped Ryder out with his AI development, and we know what group was behind a lot of AI development with EDI. So I won't say anything, but I'm pretty sure I've seen some reviewers who have been talking about the strange benefactor and they can't figure out who it is. I'm pretty sure it's the Elusive Man. Because the way they talk about it is, there's all of a sudden this sense of urgency that the Andromeda project needs to leave right away. And they say the departure schedule gets bumped up a little bit, but they're a little concerned with this benefactor and their methods and things like that. And then there's actually a little plot you do in the game where you research how Gian Carson actually died. Because she sends Ryder a contact after they get to Andromeda talking about how she's nervous about this benefactor and some other things. And they basically knock her off to cover everything up. But you find out all of it when you listen to your dad's memories. And it's pretty cool. There are some voice lines there from Liara, and they actually tell you about Shepard in Mass Effect, finding out about the Reapers, that the Council doesn't believe him. You actually have a conversation with Garrus's father, Garrus Vakarian, who we all know and love from the first trilogy. You have a conversation with Garrus's father. He talks about how Garrus is, running around with Shepard, and they've uncovered this thing about the Reapers that no one believes, but he thinks, Shepard's a straight shooter, and Garrus is pretty sure it's going to happen. So it's pretty cool to kind of see those connections made with the game. And of course, Ryder is a little bit skeptical, and so is the Andromeda Initiative. But then what they do is, as soon as he gets out of cryosleep, when he gets to Andromeda, they have some long-range communications. I guess they probably take quite a while to get to the arcs, but he goes ahead and he checks on things. And it turns out that, indeed, the Reapers do show up, and you hear some audio logs from that, including some of the original Reaper sound effects. You hear audio logs from Liara talking about how they found plans on Mars to build a weapon to hopefully stop the Reapers. And you get some other audio files from the Alliance, from the Solarians, from the Turians, talking about the Reapers are attacking, pretty much just laying waste to the galaxy. There's a very kind of depressing voice line there from Liara, where she talks about how, you guys are the continuance of our species, and you have to, teach the children and let everybody know about us. Don't forget about us, and what happened. But we're going to fight as hard as we can, but we don't know what's going on. And it's kind of left open-ended, because obviously Andromeda does not take into account any of the stuff you did in the trilogy. It doesn't take into account any of the endings from Mass Effect 3. So it's kind of left a little open-ended what actually happens in the Milky Way. And of course, in Andromeda, you're 680-some years after that. So who knows what happened there. But it could have some tie-ins for DLC and possibly other Andromeda games, or, content in the game later on, whatever they decide to do with it. We already know there's at least one other arc that will be showing up, full of Quarians and who knows what else. And I think it would be kind of cool if the Quarian arc kind of showed up and it was like all battle damage from fighting Reapers or something, and they tell stories about what happened in the Milky Way. And they're unsure if humanity or just the species of the galaxy in general were able to survive. So that's going to be really interesting, and I really found it kind of cool to kind of listen to that and go through. But it's very clear now that there are people within the Andromeda Initiative who knew about the Reapers, who knew that they might be coming. And that was something I had speculated on in the video I did a few months ago, talking about how I was really disappointed that the whole arc theory wasn't true, because the original theory everybody thought about the game was that the arcs were a backup plan for the Reapers. Well, they changed the initial bit of the story. It was going to be just this exploration type thing. But now they've found a way to kind of weave that theme in and basically say, oh, we found out about it, and the Elusive Man and Cerberus decided to, to protect humanity's interest, decided to help out the initiative and jump it up a few months so that they could leave before the Reapers would get there. Ryder even makes a comment about how we got out just in time. We literally left the Milky Way just before all the shit hit the fan. So I thought it was really cool to see that, and how they kind of gave a nice little tie-in to the original games. I thought that was really neat, and it's also very cool to see that there were people indeed within Andromeda who knew about the Reapers. It's not a lot of people, and it's kind of left open as to whether or not there are Cerberus operatives or people with this benefactor on board the Nexus. As you do investigate how Gene Carson was killed, but you never really resolve it. So that's probably something that's going to come out in a later DLC, like I said. But it's just another interesting story aspect, and kind of a neat little narrative thing you learn just by playing through Andromeda. So I thought that was pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think. Have you come across that? What did you think? Did you think it was kind of a nice tie-in, or did you think it was just kind of a cheap way to make original fans feel nostalgic? Because I know some people were like, oh, it's just dumb. They had to tie it in with the Reapers. They can't get away from the Reapers in the storyline. But I think you almost had to have something in there about it, because like I said, there were certain people that would have known at the time what was going on. Not everybody was completely oblivious to it. So I'm really glad they did it, personally, myself. So I thought that was a really cool little lore aspect they built into Andromeda. I'm really having a ton of fun with this game. I know the game didn't review very well, and it seems like it's just popular to hate on Andromeda right now for some odd reason. But I think the game, barring a couple of technical issues it's had with the animations, obviously, that's been the main thing. You don't notice it as much later in the game, but it definitely is noticeable in the early stages, even on PC. But the game is beautiful. It feels great. The combat is amazing. The story is actually pretty good once you get going in it. The characters as well developed quite well. I'm really enjoying a lot of the characters. I'm going to do a video, of course, on my overall experience with Andromeda. I'm trying to get into it deeper before I want to spend a lot of time with the game before I actually talk about it kind of in depth. And also loving the multiplayer. I think it's as good as Mass Effect 3. I think there's a few things that they could have done a little differently that I'm not a fan of, but I'll talk about all that too later on. But overall, I'm really having a great time with this game. I'm really enjoying it. I think for the money I paid for this game, I'm going to get it back and more. Just definitely a very enjoyable game full of a lot of content. So if you haven't given Andromeda a try yet, if you're kind of on the fence, if you're kind of looking at the reviews and wondering if it's a game you should actually pick up, and you like the original Mass Effect games, I would say to get it and check it out. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a great game. I personally like it better than Mass Effect 3. Some people were like, what? You know, what do you mean? Trilogy is God. You can't say anything bad about the trilogy. It's, you know, this game's nowhere near that. But I honestly do think this game is much better than Mass Effect 3 was. And that's just my opinion on it. Mass Effect and Mass Effect 2 are going to be hard to top. Those are two of my favorite games of all time. But so far, I think Andromeda is doing a great job. And it's going to be a great entry in the Mass Effect series. And there's a lot of potential with where they can still take this game, even with all the content and story they give you within Andromeda. So if you haven't given it a chance, I would definitely suggest it. You know, if you're not a Mass Effect fan, you may want to wait till it goes on sale. But I think if you're a Mass Effect fan and you're on the fence, you still haven't picked a game up, give it a try. I think you'll really enjoy it. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you thought about this little lore aspect of Andromeda, if you enjoyed the little connection they put in between the Initiative and the Reapers. I think it's pretty cool. Again, you have to go through the game and pick up those memories from Ryder's father in order to unlock these audio logs and other things. But overall, it's been a lot of fun. So I hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks as always for watching. And as usual, I'll see you again next time.